right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to P.P.L. My name is Alex Halsey. I'm the health fitness specialist at the McLean location. Happy Thursday to you all. Thanks for joining me today. So, for today's class of push, pull, and legs, we're going to make it very, very simple. I'm still recovering from a pretty bad head cold that I've been battling all week. I'm sure you guys can hear it. But nonetheless, today is going to be very simple because of that. So you will need weights for today's class. We're only going to have three sequences where we're going to have three. I'm teaching, Mom. I'm teaching. We're going to have three sequences where we're going to have one exercise per sequence, and each sequence is going to last 6 minutes apiece. We're going to focus on one move at a time because it's really going to give you the opportunity to focus in on the movement, focus in on the muscles you're trying to actually work, and so that way the quality of that movement can increase throughout that 6 minutes. And it'll also give your nervous system a chance to get familiar with it as opposed to going from one move to the next. So we're going to take it slow by virtue of consistently doing the same move for each 6 minutes, and then obviously we're also just going to have the opportunity to take it easy by virtue of simple exercises today. So grab your weights. You will need weights. You don't need anything heavy. You just need weights for 2 of the 3 moves, and I would suggest for those 2 moves to have something 5 pounds or less. Maybe 8 if you have 8, maybe 10, but I think that might be a little bit much. 10 could work for the second move. However, I think 5 would be just enough for both. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and get warmed up. Just go ahead and bring yourself down to the mat here. All right, so we're just going to start off with our usual rock, our child's pose to cobra rock, back and forth. I'm going to be moving pretty slowly today because I've been experiencing lots of pain and aching. The pain and aches that come with being sick have been the reason why I haven't taught all this week aside from today. So I'm definitely doing my best to just take my time. But I promise you, you'll still get a good workout today. Just be patient with me, and everything should work out fine. And from here, you're going to come up, go right into cat-cow. Make sure you're bringing your head as far back as you can, squeezing the glutes and the abs there in the cat. In the cow, you're bringing the crown of your head as far backward as possible. Tucking that chin as well. When you come down into the cat. And from here, you're going to bring your shoulder to your hip. Keep your hips in place. You don't want to like torque your hip to the left or to the right. Keep your hip in place, and you're kind of pushing your shoulder into your hip as opposed to pushing your hip into your shoulder. You should feel your obliques kind of squeeze a little bit here. You should feel one side squeezing. You should feel the other side stretching. And from here, you're going to bring the leg bent and back, out to the side, and then back down. It's literally just a rotation here. One more, then we'll switch directions and reverse. And switch sides. Same thing, opposite leg. Take your time, we're going through this range of motion. Last one, switch directions. All right, and from here, you're going to bring the left hand to the temple. We're going to open up to the left and bring it back down to the right. Trying to push your shoulder as far back as you can. And switch sides. Last one. Finally, you're just going to come on your back. Got two moves here we're going to do. So, number one, just some single leg bridges. So right side, we're going to go 6 bridges. Or squeezing the glutes, trying to push the hips as high up as you can. There's 6, switch sides. You're doing a short pause at the top here as well. Four, 5, and 6. Okay, from here, last move. All you're going to do is bring your arms to 90 degrees. Bring the backs of your palms to the floor. Push your arms straight up so they're extended, and then bring your elbows into your torso. Just 1. Just opening up the shoulder. 2, 3. Should be able to arch your upper back here. 4. And there's 5. Okay. So nice and easy. Now we can go ahead and start our workout. So we have 3 moves again. Our first move is going to be shoulder extension. So grab your weight. Again, we only need light weight, nothing heavy here at all. All you need to do is come down on all 4s. Bring the arm straight back. Don't go past the arm being parallel to the torso or the floor. You can do this on all 4s, or you can do this standing in a bent over position. You can do the same exact thing right here. So whichever one you feel most comfortable with at the moment is what you're going to go with. Me and my little frail self for today, definitely still in some pain, so I'm going to be doing this from the floor. It gives you a little bit more support, so that way if your back gives out, or if you just feel better that you're doing it right on the floor, this is where you want to do it. All right, so we're going to have 6 minutes. We're going to have a 30-second break, and then we'll go right into the next move. I'll demonstrate for you in that 30 seconds what the next move looks like, and we'll keep it moving, all right? So listen up for the timer. It's a 5-second countdown. I'll give you periodic time checks, and you'll hear 3 loud, distinguishable beeps when there's 3 seconds remaining in the interval. That'll signal when we're done. All right, so there we go. 5-second countdown. 3, 2, 1, and begin. Okay, so again, straight back. Keep your arm straight. We're just looking for 10 reps. You want to try not to bring your shoulder blades together. So all that means is when you pull back, you're not shrugging your shoulders together in the back. All right, let's switch sides. So it's definitely simple. Hopefully you feel the same way and easy to do. Easy moves to feel the burn. We're working our posterior deltoid right here. We spend a lot of time with our arms in front of our body, especially typing and eating. So working the opposite muscles is very, very important to balance out the time we spend with our hands in front of us. So the reason you don't want to pull the shoulder blades together is because that's going to then allow the lat to dominate, and along with a few other muscles. So just by keeping the arm straight and bringing the arm straight back as opposed to letting the shoulder blade glide toward the center of the back, this is how we can be a little bit more sure that we're working the posterior deltoid. So we should be able to feel that burn here, and you should feel it just behind your shoulder. That's where we want to feel it. You kind of want to set your shoulder to a specific location, to a specific spot, and bring your weight up and back. You don't want to roll the shoulders forward. You don't want to roll the shoulders backward. You're just imagining your shoulder is a hinge. It's not sliding backwards. It's not sliding forward. It's staying in the spot where it's at. And your arm moves about that spot. No different than the door. The hinge on the door doesn't move, but the door does. So we've got 2.5 minutes to go. Keep on going. Take your time. The lighter the weight, the more you can control that movement. In other words, the higher the quality of that movement will be. Obviously, strength is relative, so make sure the weight is relatively light or moderate. This does not need to be heavy. We're looking for moderate to light weight right here. That's why I said 5 pounds should be plenty. Ooh. So you should definitely be feeling a burn right on the back side of the shoulder. If you're feeling it more toward the shoulder blade than toward the center of your back, it could be because you're letting the shoulder blade glide backwards as you pull. And again, we want to minimize that movement, that motion. We've got 60 seconds remaining. Keep going. Just again, try to minimize or eliminate how much that shoulder blade glides backward. You just want to bring the arm back. Go lighter if you need to. not going past parallel, meaning we don't want to be way up here. We're not working the right muscles if we're way up there. You really shouldn't even need to get as high as being parallel in order to feel this. Coming back about that far should be enough. And we've got less than 15 seconds to keep going. Listen out for those 3 beeps to signal the end of the interval. There it is. All right, so 30 seconds. I know the second move says lateral arc, so we're going to go to the hamstring walks just to give your arms a break, or to give my arms a break. So the hamstring walkout, you're going to come up into a bridge. You're going to walk your feet out, one leg at a time, until they're just about straight, and reverse. Okay? Alternatively, what you can do are hamstring bridges. In other words, you bring one leg further away from your butt than the other. You keep the other leg, the heel, closer into your butt, and you bridge up. The leg doing most of the work is going to be the leg that's more straight. This way you can keep going throughout the 6 minutes. You can go from left to right, just like we did with the arm extensions in the previous interval. So that's your alternative if the walkouts are a little bit too challenging. While you're doing these walkouts, you want to minimize how much your hips shift from left to right as you do your walkouts. Do these slow enough, you should really feel it in your hamstrings, and you can even alternate between the walkouts and the hamstring bridges to allow yourself time to keep moving. So that's kind of the goal here, is to be able to move for the whole 6 minutes or close to it between these 2 moves. But again, you can get creative. And if you need to take a break, that's perfectly fine. You go ahead and do that. Just keep the hips elevated. Keep them off the floor when you do the walkout. And if you want an additional challenge, you can remove your elbows from the floor so you have less support. And I need a minute. Whew. So working the glutes and the hamstrings primarily with this move. Again, just as much as we need to counter our arms being in front of us like we did with the arm extensions, we need to counter and work on our hamstrings and our glutes compared to how much time we spend in a seated position this way. Our hamstrings are always artificially shortened or flexed, so working on the backside helps to not only engage the backside. The more you sit, the less that backside is engaged, but also the more we can open up the hip flexor. So again, we're trying to minimize how much the hips shift from left to right as you go from left leg to right leg. Remove your elbows from the floor for less stability, for more of a challenge. Should kind of force you to keep your core tight as well and keep the hips elevated. Whew. take the breaks as you need. We've got under 2 minutes to go. Again, you can do the hamstring bridges as an alternative if you need something that's maybe a little bit easier. Keep it going, guys. Take your time. The further your legs are extended, the harder it is to hold the hips up off the ground, and the more you feel it in the hamstrings. So take your time, take your time. Be graceful with your movements and decisive with the muscle contractions. Remember, keep those hips elevated. Try to lift the heel and then place it down each step. Whew. Five, four, three, two, one, and time. Moving on to our last move. This one you can actually come to your feet for. Now, grab those 5-pounders or whatever weights you have again. For this move, lateral raises. You're going to bring your weights together down at the bottom, and you're going to laterally raise the weights to the top and back down. So I'll do this on my knees so that you can see me with a little bit more clarity. But I'm bringing the weights together at the bottom here, and as if I'm doing a jumping jack, swinging my arms up and meeting them at the top. All right, so that's all we're doing. You're like making an arc. Try not to exaggerate how much your shoulders come into your ears, and control the weights as they go back down. Whew. Just wanted to save it for last because I knew it would take the most out of me, and I kind of wanted to work my body up. So there isn't necessarily an alternative way to do this move. You just want to use less weight. Again, you shouldn't need anything heavy at all. Light weight right here is what you want, and you want to keep going until you can kind of feel that you're starting to get tired, till you feel the burn. We were looking at 10 reps for the first move with the arm extension. Depending on the weight will determine how many reps you can do before you start to feel that burn. So it doesn't really matter how light it is, it just needs to be relatively light. And once you kind of feel yourself getting tired and that burn is starting to get to you, do 2 more reps. That's what I always do with myself and my clients. Once you feel it starting to work, you feel yourself getting tired, 2 more reps, then you're done. Wouldn't be surprised if some of you guys have heard training to failure. That's how I achieve approaching failure. You don't always want to train to failure, but you don't want to be too scared to approach failure. So that's kind of how I systematically get myself close to it. So you can have your palms facing away from your body, or you can have them facing each other at the bottom. And make sure your shoulders are stacked over your hips. We're not trying to be leaning forward too much. You are going to have a slight amount of forward lean, just don't exaggerate it. almost halfway through. You can just, don't even worry about counting. Just keep going, go by how you feel. Control that weight as it comes down. Don't just let it go. You should feel this on your lateral shoulder, so think of the aspect of your shoulder that's most lateral on your body. You should also feel it in your upper back. Ooh. Got 2.5 minutes to go. Catch your breath if you need to, no worries. Again, we're looking for that burn via light weight, higher reps. All right, if you have 5 pounds, if you have 3 pounds, you should be able to get the same type of work done as long as you're adjusting the amount of reps you do. I'm assuming you'd be able to do more reps with 3 pounds and less reps with 5 anyway, so naturally that adjustment, that difference in weight should allow you to do more or less. And you can gauge your work, how much work you're doing by what you have. We've got 90 seconds remaining. And again, take your time coming up, take your time going down. Do your best to keep your arms as straight as possible. The lighter your weight is, the easier it'll be to keep your arms straight. We're working through an entire range of motion right here, which is part of the reason why this is such a good move. Whew. All right, we got 30 seconds remaining. So again, you should feel this in your lateral shoulders and across your upper back. You might feel a little bit in your biceps here. That just depends on how much weight you have, but because we're keeping the arms locked out, you'll probably feel it a little bit in your biceps too. So we got 10 seconds remaining. Listen out for the 3-second countdown. Okay. Let's go ahead and shut it down. Ooh. Got some water. Go ahead, grab it. Whew. We are all done. Hopefully you took your time. And there isn't too much bringing your heart rate down to do. All right. Cool. So good job, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to stretch out here. Take a few minutes to stretch. Feel free. Just a reminder to go ahead and log your workout for today. If you log your activity minutes, I'm getting more into that this year. It's definitely something I suggest that you do as well. Having that information to go off of, especially at the turn of the year, it's very, very nice to have that raw data to see how many minutes you've actually worked out, see how many days you actually worked out. It's very, very nice. So I'm going to log mine when class is over, but just a reminder, just a primer. You can go ahead and do that if you like, but we're going to go ahead and stretch out here. So we're going to come down to a kneeling position. We're going to go right for the hamstring. So just straighten out your leg. So rotate your hips backwards. So just to, I'm going to try to exaggerate this here. So a lot of times people go to stretch their hamstrings with their hips tucked under their torso. You want to rotate your hips so almost like you're pointing your butt out, you're pushing your butt out, straighten that front leg out, and push your chest toward the floor. You shouldn't be able to go that far. You should really feel this stretch in your hamstring. All right, you don't want to go for this stretch with your hips tucked under you, trying to reach down. All right, if you have a shape of a crescent while you're doing this move, that could be one reason why. So you really want to poke your butt out, rotate your hips forward, and push your chest toward the floor. Squeeze your quad a little bit to help you feel that stretch in the hamstring even more, and then you can kind of relax it and just hold the stretch. But again, you shouldn't be able to go very far if you're doing this stretch properly. Do your best to breathe. If you can kind of train your body to breathe in these stressful or strenuous positions, your body will become a little bit more tolerable of them. And come up and relax. Think about it. If you can't breathe in something, how do you think your body would interpret that position? It's going to think that position is very, very stressful because you have a shortage of oxygen. So that's why you want to stretch to the point, not past the point of pain, but before it. It's the same thing. Rotate the hips forward, kind of push the butt out and back, and push the chest down toward the floor. Squeeze that quad a little bit. And then you can relax it. See how my back is flat? We don't want to get into this hump here. Keep it nice and flat. Relatively speaking. If all you can do is come to this point, that's okay. And relax, come on up. So then just to stretch the posterior shoulder, you can just bring the arm across and pull like so. This is really what that stretch is supposed to do. It stretches out the back and the lateral side of your shoulder. Hopefully you guys can see that tank tops have a little bit more of a functional component than they appear to have. You can look at that muscle, touch that muscle, especially for today, considering the fact that we're working on the shoulders. You can look at things, touch things, helps you activate the muscle groups you're trying to activate. And relax and switch. So pull. You're pulling that arm across your body. Again, do your best to kind of just breathe. And relax. Last stretch, we're just coming to child's pose to kind of stretch out the torso and the lats here. Keeping those arms straight, and then you can kind of relax them a little. Take a breath. Slowly come up. And that is our class for today. So thank you guys for joining me. Again, my name is Alex Halsey. I'm the Health Fitness Specialist at the McLean location. And I hope to see y'all on the next class next week. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your day. Holla.